In a letter to his brother, Vincent van Gogh once wrote, "What would our lives be like if we had no courage to attempt anything?" Today, his paintings are among the most celebrated in the world. People travel across continents just to stand in front of them and enjoy them. But during his lifetime, he faced rejection. Almost no one believed in his work, and he struggled with loneliness. And yet, he painted. Not because it was easy, not because the world encouraged him to, but because something inside of him insisted on becoming something important. Now, imagine something for a minute. What if people like him never had the courage and freedom to create? What if sculpture never touched a stone? What if scientists never asked a dangerous question? What if composer never dared to play the first note? In that way, our lives would be quieter, less colorful, less curious. Because everything we admire today, every invention, artwork, discovery, began with one fragile but important thing: the freedom to become. Freedom. We often think we know what it is. We dream of a life without limits, a life where we don't have any responsibilities, expectations, fear of failure, a life where everything is simple. But real freedom rarely looks like it. Look at the lives of the people who inspired this world. Michelangelo spent years painting the ceiling of Sistine Chapel, his body aching, every detail painstaking. Beethoven kept composing even as he lost his hearing. And scientist Marie Curie worked in underfunded and dangerous labs driven by curiosity and persistence. Different people, different struggles, but the same courage to continue anyway, even when it felt impossible. I've always looked up to the people who used art, music, or knowledge to claim their freedom. Even during Soviet Unions, there were artists, writers, composers, and people who risked everything, their careers, their lives, their safety, just to keep creating, to keep writing, and to keep reminding people of freedom. From this, I learned that freedom is act of creativity and courage. For instance, Georgian artist Petr Eltshelli used his innovative stage designs to express his individualism and imagination. And he did this in a system that tried to restrict personal and artistic creation. And growing up, hearing these stories made me realize one important thing: how valuable freedom is, and how it can not only be about having many choices, but about how we use our voice, our imagination, our creativity to keep becoming something important. But freedom can also appear in different moments. For instance, while listening to Beethoven's symphonies, I often think about the quiet resilience behind those, and music written by someone who could no longer hear them. And sometimes freedom appears while traveling. In unfamiliar cities, among unfamiliar languages, we realize one important thing: how your world is not the only world. And there are thousands of stories unfolding at the same time. And realizing that can feel strangely liberating, but it also frees us from one way of thinking and allows us to see, choose, and shape our own path from a wider perspective. Freedom is also about living with struggle and overcoming it, because every act of becoming comes with obstacles, responsibilities, expectations, fear of failure. Many of us, especially young generation today, feel that we are running out of time. I feel like I have to plan everything perfectly, to achieve everything quickly, to become everything I'm meant to be immediately. And I see it in how I approach my grades, my career goals, my plans. And maybe you felt this pressure too, the pressure to have your life figured out before it's even fully begun. But we forget one important thing: life doesn't work that way. Life is a process. Becoming is a process. We see this clearly in lives of artists like Michelangelo, who spent years refining every detail of his painting, or Van Gogh, whose art was created through constant experimentation and layers of changes rather than instant perfection. In the same way, allowing yourself time to grow is a form of freedom. Freedom to develop, to make mistakes and learn from them, and to become much more important than an instant results. For me personally, I find freedom in mountains. I grew up in Georgia, a country where mountains stretch endlessly, ancient and solid. When I stand in the mountains, I often think about how vast the world is. And all my worries, all my doubts, all my pressure, they all just disappear. And in that moment, I'm free from everything, expectations, reality, life. And that is where I find freedom. Freedom can also appear not only extraordinary achievements, but in simple moments, like riding a bike towards the sunset, listening to the music that reminds you how alive you are. And by that, you realize one important thing, that your voice is still yours to shape. And through shaping your voice, you shape your mood, your environment, and the people around you. And maybe that is the real art of becoming, choosing to shape your own life, step by step, moment by moment, choice by choice, and by realizing that the person you are becoming is worth the time it takes. At the end of the day, freedom is not some perfect destination. It's a practice. It's a quiet decisions we make every day to become, to keep creating, to keep asking questions, to keep composing even when we can't hear, to keep discovering even when things don't go our way, even when the past is uncertain, even when it's just us, blank pages, blank room, or a quiet atmosphere. Freedom is not a perfect destination. It's a practice. And if we have the courage to become, to create, to explore, then the world becomes brighter, more colorful, more alive, because we chose to become free. Thank you.